us to build our own personal consciousness within a specific cycle of life, that the one element that has become so far 89, what we call hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, helium, these things. These are all part of the harmonic resonant variable of consciousness, because there is no 88, there is no 104, there is no 90, there is no number to the elements. This periodic table that we use in science is an illusion. There is only one element, and that is hydrogen. And every variable of that hydrogen takes on a spin orientation. And it is at the it is the cycle and at the spin of the specific atom that gives you that element. It is simply the element hydrogen spinning at a different variable speed to create the element. So, what happens in the development of a consciousness cycle, we expand the consciousness variables within a hologram of being, so that we begin to deal with consciousness and perception from every angle of the hydrogen. And as we become more grounded in the consciousness of the hydrogen atom as it represents itself on that specific level, we begin to discover all these different elements. But we're not discovering elements, we are discovering the way that the mind traces the angles of the particles that are spinning. And as we begin to become conscious, more earthbound, we begin to see all the different variables that the hydrogen atom can become. And that's how we get stuck in the illusion, because we keep using thought to solidify each of the variable directions and vectors of that spin. We keep solidifying it and making it real with our thoughts. We give these hydrogen vectors a place to exist by the way we use our thoughts. And when our thoughts are being used a specific way, we now create another element to match it. So as man began to depreciate and degenerate, as well as to become more technically involved in his mind, he began discovering all these different variables of the one hydrogen, and thus became more trapped by the illusion. Now what you have to do is to reabsorb or go through a consciousness accretion of taking all of those variables and bringing them back to the self that is giving them their dimensions, that is constantly looking to see all the different variables and thinking that these different illusory spins of that particular particle is real. And it's not. It's just you using your thought process and crystallizing the illusion. So through the consciousness accretion, you stop looking at the illusion as the reality and begin to come and call all those energies back to yourself. Which is why you don't deal with this bullshit. This is why it's hyperdimensional warfare. Which means you got to start taking all the energies from this dimension and incorporating them into your morphogenetic field. Your morphogenetic field is your form-holding field. You have a form-holding field which you call your aura. Without it, you would be all atoms scattering in space. So inside of this morphogenetic field, you have to switch the polarities and begin to withdraw from the illusion and draw back all of the thought energies you put into those particular spin orientations, and then bring yourself back into the oneness, so that once you have accreted all of the energy bands that you've given off in your thoughts, now by bringing the whole dimension back into your morphogenetic field, boom, you disappear like your ancestors did. And you live on a whole other dimensional vortex of reality. I just broke down for you how to get the fuck out of Dodge. You are feeding an illusion. And the more you feed it, the more it becomes real to you. Because you give life. You are the one that gives meaning to it. Withdraw the meaning, and it no longer exists.